Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and in today's video we're obviously going to be talking about Shadowlands. Now, recently some news came out over on Wowhead about Shadowlands Alpha actually going into, well, what looks like a viable production. Now, we don't know if Shadowlands has been worked on for a lot, but in this video I do want to go into some of the details, speculations, and honestly, I just kind of want to hype over Shadowlands because I personally am very excited. So what's the big fuss? The big fuss happened while I was streaming actually, and in my stream title I had something about patch 8.3 Shadowlands Alpha when. And then Blizzard dropped a string of code which looks like, well, I guess you could see it on screen as well. Some of the things we can see that are obvious, and first of all, I'm not someone who even knows which coding language this is in. I know that Blizzard has like their own engine, and if anybody wants to give more information in the comments, that would be great. But while on stream I was talking to the chat, and there's great people in the community that have more experience than me in terms of this type of, I guess this type of environment. They said this wasn't anything amazing, but some of the obvious things we could see is at the top, launcher login. When you take a look at the middle, which would be the body of the, I guess the code, there's alpha, background color, background images in their game background, install background, which looks like maybe is just pulling from specific images or specific animations for what will look like a loading screen. There's a logo, there's a region permission, towards the bottom you can see WoW Alpha, realm permission. So I guess this would be like the bare bones look of what a loading screen would look like, and we can only guess what Shadowlands loading screen is going to look like. Still, first time seeing this was really cool. It doesn't give us any information, it doesn't say anything about what Shadowlands is going to be like, but it still had me very excited. But wait, then there was more. It looks like Blizzard did release an alpha encrypted build called 9.0.1.33411. So this is super exciting. That means there is a viable encrypted alpha build for Shadowlands somewhere in the game files. And Blizzard has been updating PTR little by little. Always make me wonder, what could they be putting on PTR if there's not going to be a patch 8.3.5? Could there be some stuff they're putting on right now that is or has to do with Shadowlands? And maybe that's essentially what they're doing. So what does this mean right now? Well, first of all, we have zero information of what Shadowlands looks like, and so far zero gameplay. And I'm hoping we start seeing maybe alpha invites or maybe closed alpha invites, like internal friends and family type of thing. And then maybe open streamable alpha stuff, you know, like class changes or testing out the new zones or some of the cool new things. Anything really just to see the beautiful environment that people get to experience back in the demo during BlizzCon, because I am personally excited to see any part of Shadowlands. It also is good to see that Blizzard is trying to continue and start working on Shadowlands stuff now. And if we were to take previous expansions and the times that previous expansions have had their alphas begin, and if you try to look for a pattern, you might see like, oh, back in Warlords of Draenor, when the, let's say the Wowhead patch sniffer sniffed out that Legion was coming out, how long was it until Legion was finally released from the time they found out that there's an alpha build for Legion? Or same thing for Battle for Azeroth, you know, take a few last expansions and try to determine if there's some sort of a timeline that can be followed here, if there is some sort of an estimated average between when it starts as an alpha and when it finally releases. I would like to hear from you guys, when do you personally and honestly believe that Shadowlands might actually be released? Do you think it's going to be about late August like Blizzard has done with almost every other expansion in the recent history? Or is this one going to cook in the oven for a little bit longer and it's going to have a later release? Because with this we can start speculating. Now, some of the ideas that have been circulating around my own Discord is potentially a pre-patch for Shadowlands will come out in August. 100% guarantee the pre-patch is going to be available. Not that pre-patch will actually release in August, but by August will be in pre-patch. So it could be that by late August, which is when Blizzard generally releases their expansions, instead of having an expansion release and for expansion to come out, let's say maybe too undercooked, and have the same issues that Battle for Azeroth and even Legion did when there was not enough content to do at the very beginning of the expansion, that instead Blizzard would release a pre-patch with a variety of different class changes and customizations for us to really get into. There's a lot of complicated systems like the leveling and the level squish and then maybe have the actual expansion release a month afterwards. That does mean we'll have a different release than normally we did, which is late August or very early September, kind of try to hit that perfect window. And I guess in a sense, the way that I look at it is I would actually prefer for Shadowlands to stay in development longer than other expansions. I would be okay for a whole extra month, maybe even 2, just to make sure that when it finally does release, it comes out good. Although Blizzard has always been very particular on when they want to release some of their stuff. As in, let's say you have some crazy cool new patch, sometimes Blizzard will delay it or release it at a proper time when another game has some sort of announcement. Let's say you have another fun, exciting game, and Blizzard wants to find a way to kind of like keep people playing instead of playing this other game. And it's almost like they'll do some of the releases to snub other games or try to take away a little bit of the hype from another game's release. Like releasing a major patch literally a week before another MMO might have an expansion coming out. And Blizzard always liked the idea of late August expansion releases. They've done it so many times over with many different expansions that I've been playing so far. Mists of Pandaria, Warlords of Draenor, Legion, as well as BFA. They like that date and time, so there's a good chance they're trying to get this expansion to be good enough so they can release it basically on their own time. But I really wanted to cook in the oven, and even if it's completely done, completely good, just a week or 2 more, you know what I mean? I want this expansion to be good because the stuff that they're putting out for this expansion is super exciting, from all the class changes that they're coming out, some of the class reverts, but also possible class changes going forward. As I'm expecting for this expansion to have more than just, hey, here are some of the abilities you used to have, but rather some core designs will be redone. There's certain specs that just do not feel that great. Maybe giving them some abilities back will feel a lot more wholesome, but there's definitely had to be some changes to the talent trees and maybe even some ideologies of how talents should play, how should they feel, stuff like that. And then there's, of course, all this new stuff with the Kyrian, you got the Venter, you got the Necrolords, and you got the Fae, the Covenants, and the Covenant abilities. There's just so much that's going to go into the playstyle of each class and each spec in some cases. There's just so much going on, which gets me super excited, and I want to play it. But at the same time, when looking at the big picture, I really would want the system to work. I would want it to be proper. I would want it to feel wholesome and whole. So that's more or less why I would actually want for the expansion to be, if not delayed, at least really just get more work on it, even if that means delaying it by like a month. But I do agree with my own Discord. I do think it's going to be like August, late August is going to be most likely the pre-patch available, and I will be perfectly happy with a month after for the actual expansion to be released then. I do wonder if Blizzard will add more players to the pool of testers in order to truly test some of the core systems, because I would want the systems to be just as well tested as the artifact weapons of Legion were. And those came out pretty well. There wasn't too much change that Blizzard needed to do post, and I would want for Shadowlands systems to feel just as polished, if not more polished, than what we have back in Legion. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. This was really me just sitting there hyping about Shadowlands because I am personally super excited and I cannot wait. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts, and I'll see all of you in another video.